my dear student. In previous lecture, we learned functions of operating system and we have already discussed only one function. The name is process management. In today's video, we learn the next function of operating system, process scheduling by operating system. Process scheduling by operating system. Here, what do you mean by the scheduling? Scheduling means to schedule anything, to fix anything, to give modules. At that time we do this, in this time we do this. These are your scheduling. Operating system do multiple program because operating system is multi-programming operating system. It do simultaneously so many programs. For this execution, we need scheduling. So allocation of CPU time to various process in memory is called process scheduling. Allocation allow to CPU time to various process in memory is called process scheduling. It is very important to manage these process as to determine which process will get the CPU time. In this time, which program will be executed, which program will be processed, which process has to be removed from CPU, which process will get the CPU time, which process has to be removed from the CPU, which process has to be shifted to the input output processing or operating system input output management. What is to be in case interrupt occur? What is in to be case interrupt occur? Please note that interrupt is a signal generated by hardware or software to the CPU indicating a high priority event that need immediate attention. So process of scheduling of operating system means multi-program load simultaneously. For that we need to schedule the process. All this is the job of process scheduler of operating system. The process of scheduling is the activity of the processor management. This is the activity of process management, process manager. And who is a process manager? CPU is your process manager. So that handles removal of the running process from the CPU and the selection of another process on the basis of a particular strategy. Strategy means to process your program step by steps here. Since all the loaded process have to be shared by CPU, the process scheduler decide upon a strategy, scheduling algorithm, step-by-step processing of your program, which help it to determine which process will get the CPU time here. So many strategy we follow for this. First is your FCFS, first come first serve. Which process come first? CPU give the processing to him first, enter it to him first. The process entering first in the queue gets the CPU first. Who is in the first queue? Then your uh, uh, activity will be done first. Same like for example, you are standing in the queue of bus stop. So first person is the turn to reach the bus first, and then next. So first come first serve. Second scheduling is your round robin scheduling. Round robin scheduling. Every process is given some fixed amount of time. Every process is given some fixed amount of time on CPU called it time slice. We decide or we distribute some parts of the timing here, say in milliseconds. If the process is over during that time, process is terminated. Otherwise, its states is changed to waiting, and the next ready process is given to the CPU time to designate amount of time. Shortest job next. Your third strategy here is, first is our first come first serve. Second is round robin scheduling. In round robin scheduling, we give the fixed time to a particular job, and if the process is over during that time, process is terminated. Otherwise, its state is changed to waiting, and the next ready process is given to the CPU time for designate amount of the time. And the third is your shortest job next. CPU picks the next job that will take shortest time, which is the shortest job, and CPU pick that job first who has shortest job, and out of already process and many more. We are not going into detail of scheduling algorithm. There are many more efficient scheduling strategy followed by operating system. The idea is just a tell that operating system allows some strategy to determine which process will get the CPU. In short, you can say that the loaded process shares the CPU using some time multiplexing mechanism. So, what do you mean by the process scheduling? Allocation of CPU time to the various process in memory is called your process scheduling, and we follow some strategy for scheduling. First come first out served, and second is your round robin scheduling, and third is your shortest job next. Here our second function of operating system is completed. Now we're talking about the third function, memory management. And we have already know about the memory. Two types of memories are there. One is your primary memory or main memory, and second is your secondary memory. Who manage these memory? Operating system manage these memory. Allocating memory to various process and resources is called your memory management. Memory management part of operating system is another very important part of everything which is being processed has to be loaded in memory. Thus memory manager perform these functions. Memory management do so many functions here and perform so many functions here. For example, if you want to store the any data in your memory, so memory provide a particular location for this data, and your data will be located there. And in memory space is there or not, it's checked by the operating system. So these functions, function number one is keeps track of each and every memory location regardless of either it is allocated to some process or it is free. First it decide in your memory space is there or not. If your memory is free, then we store the data here, but if memory is not free, then we don't store here data. Checks how much memory is to be allocated to process and how is to be allocated. How your data will be allocated to memory, how your data will be processed, and is to be allocated to process, and how is to be allocated for the job or for your processing. Decide which process will get memory at what time. Who decide? Memory management. And memory management is a part of operating system. So who decide? Operating system decide which process will get memory at what time. Keeps track of whatever some memory gets freed or unallocated, and corresponding it update the available memory, allocated memory, etc. here. Ensure that the safety of data in memory allocated to a process so that other running process do not get hold of this data. So every these type of all process done by the operating system. So these all are the functions of your operating system, and memory management is the part of your operating system, function of your operating system here. The memory manager allocates memory to process to load their data and files, etc. using different strategy. like contiguous memory allocation, non-contiguous memory allocation, virtual memory allocation. Some common memory management technique are briefly listed here. First is your single memory allocation. These are your memory management techniques. These are your memory management techniques. And first technique is single memory allocation. It is the simplest memory management technique in which the available free memory is allocated to a single application at a time. Very simple. Uh, uh, in this only your memory management technique only allocated to a single application at a time. If your memory is free, if your memory is available, then we'll allocate the job to this memory. This means only one application run at a time, and other application will get hold of memory only after the running application is over here. Second is your partitioned allocation. Partitioned allocation. In this technique of memory management, primary memory is divided into different. Your primary memory is divided into different, usually contiguous area of memory called partitions. Contiguous area of memory is called your partition. A running application is allocated one or more partition depending upon its processing requirement. In single memory allocation, only one location is here and only it allocate to a single application at a time, but here we partition of memory, contiguous area of memory called the partition, and your main memory or your primary memory will be divided in different parts, so your data will be stored differently. And third is your paged memory management. In this technique of memory management, primary memory is divided in fixed size unit. Here your memory size will be fixed, called page frame or simply pages. For example, we have decided we have given A drive 1 GB, then we decided uh, C drive, again we said 3 GB for example. So we decided the fixed unit of memory. We decide the fixed sized unit called page frame or simply pages. A running application is allocated some memory of pages for its working depending upon its processing requirements. And the next technique of memory management is segmented memory management. In segment means a small part of your unit. In this memory management technique, memory is divided into logical units called your segment. Logical unit, small unit of your memory. Segment may not be contiguous in physical memory, but logically different chunks of memory may belong to one segment. So one part and one area of your memory belong to one segment. A running application is allocated some segment depending upon its processing requirements. And our next, we complete this chapter in this video. Virtual memory, next function is virtual memory management. In virtual memory management, another important task of operating system is your virtual memory management. In this, using some area of the hard disk as RAM, and when ROM is full. If your When RAM is full, hard disk gives some area to the RAM, is known as your virtual memory. Using some area of the hard disk as RAM when RAM is full is known as your virtual memory. And virtual memory is used when virtual memory is also used using paging and segmentation techniques. So we use here two techniques, segment technique and other is paging technique. Since virtual memory is an important concept, some section is talking about it in some more detail. Virtual memory, so we learn here in detail. RAM has billions of memory allocation, but sometimes even that is not enough room for all the data the CPU needs. Sometimes RAM has billion of memory locations. We store all the data in RAM. Our processing is going fine with the help of RAM, but sometimes enough memory is not available in RAM. When RAM gets too full, The computer is operating system uses some area of the hard disk as virtual memory, and this virtual memory is called virtual RAM. To use virtual memory, the operating system temporarily marks sections of loaded data in RAM which are less required compared to the other loaded sections. These sections are then shifted to virtual memory. Then your data will be shifted in virtual memory and RAM is freed. When these virtual memory pages are required, operating system loads them again in RAM by swapping some other less required section of the RAM. And what do you mean by the RAM here? RAM is your random access memory, RAM is your volatile memory, RAM is your temporary memory. And first, when you type any data, when you start and when you do any processing of your data, first your data meet with the RAM. So if RAM is full, then hard disk gives some space to the RAM, and this process is called your virtual memory. And this is your temporary, not a fixed time. This is your temporary memory. Thus, virtual memory is some area on the hard disk which is like RAM and hold data the CPU not need immediately. Both Windows and Unix operating system virtual memory. In both Windows and Unix operating system have supported by the virtual memory. But virtual memory is also volatile. Volatile means your little bit time, change time to time. Like RAM, if the computer is turned off, the operating system loses track of what was kept where in virtual memory. The data is lost when your power supply is weak. When your power supply is off, your data will be lost from the virtual memory. But even though the CPU can directly access virtual memory, it is slow when the CPU needs data held in virtual memory. It takes the operating system to first load it into the RAM, which is quick to access. So what is the functioning of a virtual memory? Data need by the CPU. Data need by the CPU, and here less use data. So your RAM goes to the virtual memory with the help of hard disk, and virtual memory give your data again to the RAM. And when your data goes to the RAM to the virtual memory, this term is we call less use data. And when virtual data again move into the RAM, data need by the CPU. Virtual memory is very slow compared to the RAM, and too much use of virtual memory not only shows down your computer, but it also indicates that your computer required more RAM to be installed on it. And now next function of your operating system is input output management. Very simple. Here we manage the input output devices, your keyboard, mouse, all these hardware part and your devices and your printer, monitor, all these parts managed by the operating system. Whenever a process requires some input output, the input output management part of operating system takes over. The role of input output manager of operating system is to connect the process of actual input output device through some strategy. Input output management here manage your mouse is work properly or not, your keyboard is attached with the CPU or not. So these type of every message displayed by the help of input output management. These all message displayed with the by the operating system. The input output manager send the input output request to the physical device, and upon receiving a response from the device, it passes the received response to the process. During the time a process is with the input output manager, the CPU keeps on working with only ready process. Next is your user interface. Next type is your user interface. We have already talking about the interface. What do you mean by the interface? Interface means the interconnection between the two devices, interconnection between two things. The way that a computer and a user communicate is known as user interface. Communicate means communication. Communication from whom? Communication from hardware part and the user. So communication between the hardware and the user is your user interface here. An operating system provides an environment for the user to interact with the machine through a user interface, UI. You also say UI. UI is either graphical or text based. You can say character user interface or graphical user interface. So we here are talking about the graphical user interface. We have already discussed CUI and GUI in chapter number 1. We take here firstly interface that are graphically in nature are known as either graphical user interface, or you also say WIMAP interface. And what do you mean by WIMAP? Those icons, menus and pointer. But in character user interface, you are no icons are there, no menus are there. We do everything by the help of commands only. In GUI operating system, you no need to learn many things here. We just click on the icons. For example, if you want to open any any file or folder, you just click on the icon, double click on the icon, and your file will be open or your folder will be open. But if you use the character user interface operating system, then you write down the commands first. For example, you write down copy con, then write down the file name, then you only your file will be open. The GUI operating system or your GUI is very simple and easy way to control the functioning of your computer. Are mostly available on most computer, laptop and smartphone. Nowadays your GUI mainly mostly your operating systems are GUI operating system, GUI interface operating system. And to in nowadays computer, laptop, smartphone, mostly all are your GUI interface. This type of interface is called your graphical user interface because the user interact with tiles, icons, menus, or images through a mouse, keyboard, or touch screen. But in character user interface, less use of your mouse and we don't touch the screen, and user need not know the complexity of the machine. But in CUI, we learn so many things. So GUI is best than the CUI. Some advantage of GUI based operating system is the GUI interface is easy to understand and even the new user can operate on them. It is very simple or easy interface here. So you do it the GUI interface visually acknowledged and confirm each type of activities performed by the user. For example, when the user delete a file in the window operating system, the operating system asks to confirm to deleting it. If you say yes, then only your file will be deleted, otherwise your file will be safe in your computer system. The GUI interface enables the user to perform a number of tasks at the same time. In GUI, you do so many work simultaneously, but in CUI interface, you do only one program at a time. A command line interface we discussed side by side, but we take it firstly here. An operating system also provides a method of interaction that is non-graphical. CUI interface is your graphical, but CUI is not a graphical. We say here in GUI icons are there, your menus are there, your pointers are there, but in CUI no icons is there, no mouse use here, and no menus are there. Called the command line interface. A command line interface, you say character user interface or you say command line interface here. Uh, a command line interface require a user to type in commands from a list of allowable commands to perform desired action. CLI command line interface is a text only service. In GUI we use the graphics, but here we only use the text. The operating system also responds in text. Using a CLI require knowledge of the command available on a particular machine. Some advantage of using command line include it is faster way to get tasks done, it more flexible than a GUI. It uses less memory as compared to a GUI interface. This is your command line interface. and one is your character user interface. In this we are fixed, it is not faster, everything we write then we do only. And command line interface is different from the character user interface here. CUI is not the faster, command line interface is faster than the character user interface, and also faster than the GUI operating system also. And command line interface is more flexible than the GUI, but CUI, character user interface, is not flexible here. It uses less memory as compared to the GUI interface. So here our chapter number 4 is completed, and cloud computing is not the part of our syllabus. CBSE cut for this year nowadays. So we don't do the cloud computing, and only this is the our chapter number 4. Here our chapter number 4 is completed. And in the chapter number 4 we learn 3 or 4 things only. So in this chapter we learn insight into program execution, basic flow of compilation, understanding translation process. And in understanding translation process we learn two things: one is your compiler and second is your interpreter. After that we learn a role of an operating system in running a program. Here we learn so many functions of operating system: processor management, memory management, the graphical user interface, input output management, so many type of functions. But these two are not the part of our syllabus. Thank you so much for watching this video. We meet in next video with next topic, chapter number 6. Thank you so much for watching.